If you're somebody who's been struggling with heartburn, with indigestion, with bloating, either shortly after you eat or a few hours after you eat, diarrhea, constipation, stomach cramps, abdominal cramps, whatever it might be related to your digestive function, I want you to watch this video, and I want you to know that you're not alone. In fact, over 70 million Americans report having some sort of digestive dysfunction, and millions of digestion medications are prescribed, as well as supplements to help improve digestive function. However, nothing improves digestion than what I'm going to share with you right now. And then at the end, I'm going to share what you can do if these tips do not work for you, because some people need a little bit more support. So first and foremost, you want to understand that there's some key things that are required in order for you to digest your food properly. They're non-negotiable, right? Just like I can't negotiate with a plant to give it more water in the absence of sunlight, I can't negotiate with your body to feed you healthier and ignore the rules of engagement when it comes to digestion. These are non-negotiable. So first and foremost, if we are planning on digesting our meal, we want to have our nervous system in the right state. What do I mean by that? So to simplify things, there are essentially two states to the nervous system. There's fight or flight, which is known as the sympathetic division, and there's the parasympathetic division, which is known as the rest and digest division. We might even add rest, rejuvenation, reproduction, restoration. Anything that you want to do to heal and function optimally usually resides on the parasympathetic side of the fence. Most people, as I've observed, eat under stress, or they eat while they're moving around, or they eat while they're standing, or they eat mindlessly because they view food as an inconvenience and they're just ready to get on to the next thing. So their mind is somewhere else while their body is trying to do one of the most important and energy intensive things that it does, which is digest food. Remember, your body has to break food down into unrecognizable molecules so that it can absorb it into the system and then piece them all back together to build a new you and to build new cells and to fuel your body. So if you eat a piece of chicken, your body doesn't use the chicken. It has to break it all down, absorb it all, and then reconstitute it into new pieces and new parts of you. So this is a very energy intensive process. It's very chemically intensive, and so you have to know the rules so that you can get the best outcome of whatever meal you're having. When you don't follow these rules, you'll experience constipation, bloating, diarrhea, stomach and abdominal pain, heartburn, indigestion, nausea. Those are all symptoms of eating in the wrong state and in the wrong way. So first things first, we got to get you parasympathetic. How do we do that? We do that by, one, maybe going outside in nature, eating your lunch outdoors or eating your breakfast outdoors, listening to the sounds of birds, being bathed in sunlight, looking out at some trees, looking at the animals, right? Watching some birds fly around. Those are things that relax our nervous system. The sounds of birds relax and soothe our nervous system. The rustling of the leaves, the visuals of the leaves in the trees and the grass and the bushes, those things relax our nervous system. When you're outdoors, the sun is also healing and rejuvenating you. Remember, the abdomen is called the solar plexus for a reason, right? We are charged by the sun. So getting outside is one thing you can do. If you can't do that, then, and you're indoors, you want to eat under dim lighting. If you ever go to a nice restaurant, you'll notice that the lighting is very dim. They use incandescent bulbs or bulbs that are a little bit on the warmer side of the color spectrum. When you go to a fast food restaurant, it's all bright, right? And very blue light intensive, if you will. That creates a stress response in our body. And guess what? Fast food, they want you to eat fast, move fast, and get out of there, right? They don't want you digesting that meal, right? That's not their focus. Whereas when you go to a nice restaurant, they want you relaxed. They want you having a good time. They want you having great conversation. And the way we do that with lighting is we dim the lights. So at home, in the evening, you can dim the lights. Bonus points if you can eat under candlelight. That's going to have a huge effect as well. Nice way to soothe you. Next thing, you want to make sure you're sitting, not bouncing around from the table to the countertop to the stovetop. You want to make sure you're sitting and able to really sink in and enjoy that meal. One way to also get into a parasympathetic state is to take a few deep breaths. You can do some box breathing. You can do a physiologic sigh. And you can look those things up if you want, but essentially they're really easy breathing techniques to soothe our nervous system. Another thing that you can do that can be really helpful is to find what soothes you. For some people, it could be reading for a few minutes. It could be some soft music that helps soothes you. It could be prayer, gratitude, meditation, whatever gets you into the present moment. Another thing that's important to help with digestion is looking at your food, smelling your food before you ever even eat it. And so that will also initiate the production of saliva, which is one of the outward ways that you know that you're in a parasympathetic state. And it also helps you know that your digestive system is ready to receive. If you're not making saliva, chances are you're still in a sympathetic dominant state. And that makes sense because if we're in fight or flight, we're not going to make saliva. Why would our body waste energy making saliva? Your body is very smart and very efficient as well. When we start salivating, saliva starts the initial chemical digestion, especially of carbohydrates. So if you're feeling bloated after you eat, you probably didn't mix your saliva. If you made enough, you didn't mix it enough with the food that you're eating. This is why chewing is important. Chewing mixes our saliva and our food. It breaks open the cell walls of plant foods. It breaks down proteins into small little chunks to increase the surface area. It actually stimulates the production of the signal to our stomach to make stomach acid. And so now it sets off a whole cascade of events, a simple act of chewing. You want to chew your food until it's completely liquefied. One observation I make is people hardly chew their food. They eat too fast. They take a few bites and chew a few times, and then it goes down the hatch. Undigested, unprocessed. Remember, your digestive system is like a car wash, and you would never drive through the car wash, or you'd never skip a step in the car wash. So we don't want to just pile food into our stomach, missing that first step of chewing and mixing it with our saliva and tasting it so our body knows what's coming. When we chew our food, it initiates the process of stomach acid production. Stomach acid is so important for healthy digestive function because it helps you break down protein into amino acids. It helps you activate other parts of your digestive system like your pancreatic enzymes and also your gallbladder secretion. It also helps with hunger cues, and it also helps kill pathogens. So mold and fungi and parasites and pathogens and bacteria, all that stuff that's coming in our food supply gets killed off if we have adequate stomach acid production. When we have adequate stomach acid production, we also absorb B12, magnesium, calcium, zinc, and iron. So mineral deficiencies and B12 deficiency are often associated to low stomach acid production, which is associated to eating in a sympathetic state, not chewing your food, and perhaps even drinking too much fluids with your meals. When we make enough saliva because we're prepared and ready to digest, we don't drink as much water with our food because we have a natural built-in water fountain and lubricating system to help us swallow our meal. If you're drinking a lot of water with your meals, it's because you're probably not making enough saliva and you're further diluting the enzymes in your stomach. Another way to improve digestive function that's crucial is the timing of your meals. So we suggest that you have a higher protein meal first hour of the day, and then you have your last meal about 3 hours before bedtime, so you can reverse calculate what that is for you. I would suggest your last meal is before the sun sets if you want to earn bonus and brownie points with your digestive system, because that's going to also ensure that you're getting a good night's rest and recovery. And then your third meal can be somewhere in between that first hour of waking and 3 hours before bedtime. You can fit that in wherever you want, wherever it's appropriate for you. Typically, the strongest digestive function takes place at around midday, which varies from the time of the year. It could be around 11, it could be around 1. It just varies from time to time, depending on where you live in the world. However, that's when your digestion is strongest, and that's when you can have your biggest meal. So these are some really simple things that you can start doing to help you digest your food better. And let's say you are doing these things. Let's say you are eating in a parasympathetic state. Let's say you are chewing your food. Let's say you are waiting for saliva production before you put food in your mouth. Let's say that you are eating at the right time of day and you're eating outside or you're eating under dim lighting if it's indoors, and you're not stressed out and all the things, and you're still not seeing results, then here's what you can do just to give your body a little bit of support. It's to supplement with something called betaine hydrochloride. Betaine hydrochloride kind of mimics the function of your own hydrochloric acid production and gives you a bit of a boost. So you still want to do all these things we talked about and then add betaine. You can start by 1 capsule, and if you get any burning sensation, then that means stop, don't take any more. If you don't, then increase it to 2 at your next meal, and then 3, and then 4, and then you want to increase it until you get a burning sensation, kind of almost like what heartburn might feel like. And if that's at 4 capsules per meal, then you drop it down to 3 capsules per meal, and that's what you're going to take with every meal. I'll drop a link to my favorite betaine hydrochloride, the one I take when I need to, and so you can get it there and just grab it at the link. However, betaine is really, really powerful, and so you'll keep maintaining that dose of 3, and then if you start getting burning at 3, you'll knock it down to 2, and of course you can adjust to the size of your meal. So if you're having a much bigger meal for whatever reason, then you might want to increase it by 1 or 2 capsules using your judgment. If you're having a smaller meal, then of course you can pare it back as well. However, betaine can be a game changer for people because now they're getting appropriate digestive function taking place in the stomach. And when the stomach acid is adequate and the pH of the stomach contents drops, the trap door in the bottom of the stomach opens up, and these well-digested contents then start going into the small intestine, and then your pancreatic enzymes are secreted, and that then helps secrete the next phase, which is bile secretion. These are all physical and chemical reactions that are dependent on the things that we're talking about. So get in a relaxed state, make sure your saliva production is engaged in order for you to start eating your meal, and then you want to make sure you're chewing your food properly. Don't drink a lot of fluids with your meals. If you do need to drink some warm water with lemon, or warm water with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, could be a great thing to assist in digestive function. Try to avoid ice cold water. It's like the worst thing you can drink with a meal, unless you're trying to self-sabotage your digestive function. And then lastly, if you're doing all the things right that we talked about right now, you're timing your meals correctly, all those things, then the next thing that you can do is just make sure you're supplementing with betaine hydrochloride to make sure you're producing adequate stomach acid, or supplementing to produce adequate stomach acid, and then you'll find that right dose for you based on what I shared, and then continue taking that amount and watch what happens. Within just a few days, you'll see a dramatic improvement in your bloating, in your heartburn, in your constipation, in your diarrhea, just in overall how you feel after you eat a meal. You're going to feel so much better, and you're going to get better nutrient absorption. So you're going to feel more energy and more vitality as well. Anyways, I hope that helps. Like I said, I'll drop the link for the betaine below so you can grab my favorite brand. And here's to healthy digestive function. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and of course share with a loved one, because again, 70 million people are struggling with digestive issues, and I want you to have a very simple framework to improve your digestive function once and for all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.